If you have mesothelioma, cannabis oil may help, but only if you use the right type. There's new research on 2 cannabis compounds that showed they slowed the growth of mesothelioma cells by 50% in lab studies compared to untreated cells. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what these compounds are, the 4 ways they attack cancer cells, and the one major problem researchers need to solve before this can help patients. I'll also share with you a story about Andy, a patient who survived mesothelioma for over 6 years with the help of cannabis oil. Hi, I'm Deborah from Surviving Mesothelioma. For almost 20 years, we've helped over 18,000 mesothelioma patients understand their treatment options and find hope when they were told there was none. We also worked for over a decade with the world's #1 mesothelioma survivor. But before I show you the study, let me be clear. I am not saying cannabis oil will cure mesothelioma, and anyone who makes that promise is lying to you. What I can do is share what the science says. And when we dug into the research, here's what we found. A 2022 lab study in the medical journal Cancers showed that cannabis oil may slow the growth of mesothelioma cells compared to untreated cells, but not all cannabis molecules killed the mesothelioma cells. Out of 13 different compounds researchers tested on the mesothelioma cells, only 2 really made a difference. The ones that worked were CBD, which is short for cannabidiol, and then CBG, which is short for cannabigerol. What makes these 2 so special? Well, in lab tests, they were able to block mesothelioma cells from multiplying, and then in some cases, they even killed the cancer cells. What makes this especially interesting is that these are non-psychoactive compounds, which means they don't make you high. You can take them and you can still drive or have a normal conversation with your grandkids. But let's go back to the findings. Okay, in the lab, CBD killed cancer cells at a dose of about 10 micromolar, which is just a fancy term for how much of something is mixed into a liquid. It's like adding sugar to your tea. Less sugar means a weaker taste, and more means stronger. So CBD needed 10 micromolar to work, but CBG needed 15 to 20, up to twice as much to get the same effect. They both killed cancer cells, but CBD was stronger. And what really stood out to researchers was that these compounds killed the mesothelioma cells, while leaving the healthy cells mostly unharmed. It's like you're using a smart bomb that only targets the bad guys. But what's even more surprising is how they do it. So these cannabis compounds may actually attack the cancer from 4 different angles. So let's look at each of them. Number 1, they stop cell division. In the study, CBD and CBG basically stop the cancer cells from multiplying. The cells got stuck in their resting phase, so they couldn't split and make more copies of themselves. So think of it like hitting the pause button. The cells couldn't move forward, so the cancer couldn't keep growing. Number 2, they trigger cancer cell death. Both CBD and CBG also triggered something called apoptosis. That's a medical term for the cancer cells' built-in self-destruct system. It's like the cells were told to shut themselves down, and because it was also being attacked from other angles, the cancer had a much harder time fighting back. Okay, number 3, they prevent the cancer from spreading. So in lab tests, researchers set up a way to see if the cancer cells could move and spread. With CBD and CBG, the cells just couldn't move as easily as they normally do, and that's important because it's the way the cancer spreads, which is known as metastasis, and that usually makes mesothelioma so deadly. And then finally, number 4, the CBD and the CBG made the cancer cells grow more receptors. Okay, and these are sort of like landing pads on the cell surface. When these receptors appear, it makes the cancer cells easier to attack. Normal cells don't have as many of these receptors, which may be why they aren't harmed by the compounds. Before we get too excited, let me talk about the big problem that the researchers ran into. In lab dishes, CBD and CBG seemed really powerful. But when scientists tested it in rats with mesothelioma, they just didn't see the same results. In fact, those rats didn't live any longer than those that didn't get the treatment. So why would something that worked so well in a petri dish fail in a living body? And the answer is bioavailability, and that's just a fancy word for how much of something actually gets into your bloodstream. The researchers couldn't get the CBD and the CBG levels high enough in the rat's blood to kill the cancer. Does that mean cannabis oil is a dead end? Not quite. In fact, lots of research, including a 2022 review published in Cannabidiol and Cancer Management, showed that CBD may help with several types of cancer, including colorectal and brain cancer. How? Well, by reducing inflammation, slowing that tumor growth, and then boosting the effectiveness of standard treatments. For mesothelioma, the challenge is finding the right way to get enough of the CBD and CBG to where it's needed, the tumors that are inside the body. And this is important because it means you can't just go to the store and buy CBD oil and expect it to work like it did in the labs. It's the delivery method, how you get it into your body and into the cancer cells. That's the missing piece of the puzzle. So where does that leave us? The lab studies are clear. CBD and CBG can attack mesothelioma cells in several different ways, and researchers are now testing new ways to get enough of these compounds in the bloodstream, like injecting them directly into the tumors, creating more easily absorbed formulas, or pairing them with other drugs to help with the delivery. Oh, and remember Andy, the survivor I mentioned earlier, he used cannabis and other natural oils to survive for more than 6 years with mesothelioma, after being told he might only have months to live. And we can't say for sure if the cannabis oil was the reason he lived that long, but stories like his are why researchers believe cannabis may help give some patients a fighting chance. If I was a patient curious about cannabis oil, I would bring it up with my doctor, and maybe even share this study with them. Treatments like chemo and immunotherapy are still the backbone of mesothelioma treatment, but some people are adding other approaches like CBD or CBG to try to beat the odds and live longer. Of course, no one should be doing this on their own. Every patient should work with their doctor, make sure they're using the right compounds at a safe dose. Researchers are still looking for the best way to use cannabis oil for mesothelioma, but we're not at the finish line yet, and the science is always moving forward. If you find Andy's story inspiring, I'll leave a link to his story in the description below. You might also want to learn about Paul Kraus. He is known as the world's #1 mesothelioma survivor. He survived for over 27 years using only alternative approaches. Get a free copy of his book, Surviving Mesothelioma. Just click the link in the description below and we will ship it to your door for free. And remember, stay informed, keep fighting, never give up hope, and I'll see you in the next video.